fucking people, you know, like there's a lot of stuff that shows up on a feed, and I gotta hit my feed 3 times a day and then I'm answering people back, and believe it or not, I'm like recharging my phone multiple times a day because I can't keep up, you know.
Well, it's like, I mean, but how could you miss that one though? I mean, her name was Alexa Sex Club. Come on.
I didn't want to point that out, dude. I wasn't gonna point that out, but yeah.
Well, she had nice legs.
She had a fake face. That's, I mean, that dude. The last chick that I blasted was seriously. She took her photo from some porn star, and then like posted it on there. And if you did a Google cross reference of her face, it came up this porn star chick, and she wanted me to pay her a $50 Steam card so that I could fuck her, so her kids could play a video game with the Steam card in the other room. So then I just started asking her blood type, what organs she still had, shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
When I first got on Cannabis, I had some chick that was like that, is like texting me, like looking for Steam cards and stuff. And I didn't even know what the hell that was. I'm just like, she's like, oh, can you buy me this card, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, you might as well be speaking gibberish, because it's just not my world. I don't live there. And then I was just like, so I Google what the hell's this Steam card thing, and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. And then like a week later, she's just like, oh, maybe now you can get me your card on the way back from home. And I'm just like, who the hell are you? Like,
wow.
I don't even do this for my very best friends in life. And you're some chick that I've never met before. Never had the pleasure of shaking your hand, looking you in the eyes, having a coffee with you or anything like that. And I'm just going to start draining my bank account for you, huh?
Oh yeah, this chick was raw, dude.
That's why they're out there doing that stuff.
That's why, yeah, exactly. This chick was raw. She was just like, oh yeah, my kids can play the game while you fuck me and da da da. And I'm like, so you think I'm gonna chop you up, harvest your organs, and try to cross the border while your kids are in the other room? What kind of fucking monster do you think I am? You know? I love those chicks, though. They just come in and I just fucking berate them, you know? And then I put them on blast until Q ends up seeing them and then bans them, you know? Or Cannabis. Is Q and Cannabis the same person?
Yeah, they're the same person. The one is part of the it's the main thing, the Cannabis thing.
Yeah.
Q is his own particular, I mean, that's like me and you, you know?
Okay. Because me and Johnny basically, like, you know, gift bombed the shit out of Q's live stream like last week. And then he started joining it, which was cool, but I didn't mean to do that. I made a comment, and then Johnny came in, and like we had this plan on stealing people's threads with gifts, you know, just stop bombing this shit. And Q just became the victim that day. But he was a good sport.
I mean, me and you have done it to Johnny.
Oh my God, yeah. I swear to God, some of you people just check out my activity and you're like, all right, he's right here. Let's start gift bombing. Boom, 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 boom. You know, and we've taken, dude, we've added up like 20 comments in the one person's thread just bombing each other.
Well, that's why I hate it when they put me on that trend thing, man. Those goddamn things are nothing but a pain in the ass. You get like 5,000 notifications. It's always popping up on your screen, covering up what you're looking at and shit. I'm like, man.
I get mad at a couple of hundred. Well, not mad, but I'm just like, oh my God, I got my work ahead of me this morning. Freaking with a couple of hundred, never mind thousands, dude. I'd have to hire a secretary.
Popular, so I don't worry about these problems. Nobody knows who I am still, so I'm pretty sure I'm still.
How can they not know who you are when they know who I am and I'm on your show?
Well, I don't know. I'm just really
it's pretty easy.
Nobody, I guess, because I'm pretty sure I'm still only at like something like 250 followers.
That's where pretty much I'm at. I throw my voice out there in a lot of people's threads, you know. So
I think I finally crossed 300 with that with that post the other day, giving love to Cannabis.
Nice.
I think I saw that you went past 300 hypothetical.
See, now I've
I
got
just broke
400 and some, but
Huh?
to be truthful with you, all that does is put an extra bunch of stuff in my feed every
Yeah,
day.
they've had it.
True.
Well, I'm actually kind of with you and what Prophet was saying. I think it was Prophet earlier. With anytime you get new followers, you go and vet them to see what's in there. It's like when the whole TikTok invasion happened there a couple months ago. Start getting all these new followers and stuff, but like your feed just ends up with like TikTok videos and whatnot. And I've got absolutely no interest in that. And like welcome to all of those people. That's just not my thing. So I ended up leaving a bunch of groups and stuff like that. So anytime I get a new follower, if I start scrolling, I see a TikTok video within like your first 10 posts. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm not going to follow you. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just, I don't, that's not why I'm on Cannabis. So I want to see pictures of nice looking buds or concentrates or what somebody's got going on in their grow room lately. Like, like in our group chat there, like he's been posting up all sorts of wicked stuff on there. So, like that's the kind of stuff I love seeing.
Oh yeah.
I even like seeing what people are doing in general. I mean, not hints into their personal lives or anything like that. Just what people post about, what they're doing, how they're feeling, what's going on, friggin' how the site helps them. I think a lot of that's actually pretty decent to run through my feed. I always like positivity. Like I said, I used to start off my mornings at fucking YouTube watching the news and shit, dude, just getting stressed about the state of the world. Now I just jump on here and it sucks up enough of my battery where I barely even get onto YouTube. I think I haven't watched the news in like a month, dude.
I'm probably
right. I need to plug in my phone.
How do I? Oh God, I'm not going to ask how do.
Dude, people tell me things that are happening in the real world, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll just go back in my troll hole.
Dude, I was one of those people that knew everything that was going on all over the place, and it just drove like it. I know I can't do anything about it, and I was obsessed with just knowing, but it's faded out, man. It's faded out. I'm more interested in what you guys are doing.
I'm with you, Prof. I've like I said, I was a conspiracy realist, so like I know all the things that are real, but I also know how much I cannot do anything about it. I'm not rich enough to do anything about it. So, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go look at some plants.
Straight up.
So I found the people that are following me. How do I find this one? What did you say? She's somebody.
No, Q already wiped her out. I don't think you'll find her.
You won't
She's
find
gone.
her anymore. He wiped her out yesterday.
He wiped her out. If you go into my feed, I posted a picture of her bio and her picture right there on one of my posts. It says, "Can I get a real slut?" or something like that, and you'll be able to see what she looked like and her info. Like her biography was nothing basically, and then like there was the other thing. It was like one. And then, why you want cannabis? One. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no effort whatsoever put into any of it. And like I said, her last name was Sex Club. You know what I'm saying?
Type of chick I need right there. That's pretty low maintenance. She's got everything already figured out, knows exactly what she wants. You know what I mean? Like, hey, right on.
Rick's just mad he missed it. He's over there trying to find it. He's like, what the fuck, guys? Come on.
There's a sex club involved. Count me in, man. Come on.
You're better off going to the strip club,
We're on the air. Good morning, everybody.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Yeah, we are.
Out of the toilet here, boys.
We've been on the air for quite some time, guys. They caught that whole combo.
Oh my God.
It's Sunday,
Rick
man.
got put out for everybody.
Well, at least we the wasn't too bad after we started streaming there. Most of the bad stuff was before we hit the go button. So
Okay.
Usually pretty good about
somehow
that. Let the pre-show conversations go. But so how's everybody doing today? It's been quite the week.
Yeah, we already got 12 people in the chat. Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
chatters are awesome.
I'm jumping in there right now to see who's there.
Yeah, me too.
For once, I'm finally on the YouTube chat. Hooray!
So hit the like button, guys. Put that thumb up.
Yeah, and subscribe if you haven't already. See, we need Indy to be around here. He's the man when it comes to that stuff. He's always on the ball.
Can we touch on that topic briefly? I hear it so many times, and really, I should plug into my technological side. It just doesn't exist anymore. So what we're talking about when we want people to like and subscribe, it's got to do with algorithms. Am I correct? The whole idea is put in, if enough people are liking and so on, that other people are attracted to the site. Is it's a little bit like a tag or something like that. And also, we've got like, subscribe, don't like, notifications, comments, and I'm thinking of one more, comments and so
Cheers.
doing a little bit of all of that stuff, or what's going on?
If you like what you see, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the unlike button. If you want to see this all the time, hit the subscribe button. If you want to know when it's going on, hit the notification button. I think that's sums it up. Now, but we hope you like what's going on and hit that like button because it makes us feel good. It's that warm, fuzzy feeling in the
And if you don't like us, just drop us a mark and insult us. We take that too. It's still a view.
Yeah. Probably return.
Let us know how bad we are at growing.
If they don't like us, what the hell are they doing here in the first place?
Just to come and post a mark to insult us, but they don't realize it still adds to a view.
Yeah.
And commenting helps as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
And they don't even realize half the time we don't even know we're on YouTube. So
I know it. We'll just get rambling, and then the next thing you know, like at the top of the corner, it's like, why is that red? Oh, live. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got a Zoom class. I got a Zoom class where I have to, I have my real name and stuff out there for the class and stuff like that. So every once in a while, like I almost joined this morning and I looked, I was like, oh shit, hold on, cancel real quick. Let me go change it again.
Did you hear the Weed Wizard post it down? Fucking, he had a Zoom thing and he ended up forgetting to change because the night before we had the
Council,
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking weed.
Well,
I got as far as entering the passcode on a work meeting.
Trying to get into class.
Dude, one day I'm going to forget and my name's going to come up my wife's. That's the funny part. I have to delete it every time I come into here, and I swear to God, I'm going to end up forgetting. And my Jennifer's going to be right across the bottom of my goddamn thing.
What is that, your Tuesday night mantra? Is that your night first?
So I got some exciting news here at the Cariboo Hart household. I've been doing some shopping lately. I'm building a fleet of pirate ships. I went out and ordered myself some 4x4 grow tents. They'll be here within the next week or two. Some fusion huts from growlights.ca. So if anybody in Canada is looking for those, go check them out. And I talked to Keith at Black Sail Market yesterday, and I've got 7 Canon LEDs coming my way. So we're going to use those to outfit our fleet of pirate ships and start nailing motherfuckers down. I'm looking for some AC Infinity fans. I'm scared of getting hit with border duties with that stuff coming over the border. So I'd prefer to deal with Canadian shippers, and I haven't found anyone with the T-Series 6-inch inlines in stock right now. So if anybody's watching that can find those, or can get me a good deal from the States, so I'm not getting nailed too hard with border duties coming over, feel free to reach out. Because that's my next thing I'm doing. Oh, and I got I think it was a 48 site cloning turbo cloner yesterday too, because here where all of my genetics are right now, and I've got some Arise, Purple Punch 2.0, and a Charlotte's Web that we need to cut some clones off of, and it's just let's do the turbo cloner and try that out, see how it works. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. And also, I did some book shopping. So I've heard lots of this is a great book, apparently. 2nd edition, so it's got a few extras thrown in. And that's what's going on in my world right now. Things are exciting. Prophet, what are you showing us there, brother?
This I think actually might be the DK orange. Yep, that's a DK orange.
That stuff was super tasty.
Yeah, man, the smell alone was just awesome.
That was straight like sweet orange. Like
I'd like to send some out to the whole panel I got on here, but you know I gotta drag up all your addresses and shit, and I'm not just one to send bud, so it's like I gotta make some gummies and I gotta make some other stuff so I can fill the box up, so it's not just so generic.
Those gummies were hitting too.
Were they? Because I actually weakened the recipe just to kind of work on a new process so I can get the things solid, you know, like really mix well, which I think I fucking nailed. Just add a little bit of honey. I was mentioning that before. Blends that shit real good, especially if you're using coconut oil. And friggin', you know, I gotta make some more of those. But this next round's a little more potent than the last because I'm trying to amp up the potency, but make sure I have the proper blend or infusion, you know, when it comes to it. I don't know if you guys ever made gummies with coconut oil, and sometimes you'll end up with that damn layer at the top or the bottom, however it is. Well, to get rid of that, you kind of got to add, like Rick used the lecithin, which is an emulsifier. You ain't got one of those, you can use corn syrup or honey, and that'll help blend it. You know what I'm saying? The ones I was showing off, man, those things are beautiful. So that's been the new key, is a little bit of honey added in there to smooth it right out, so you don't have any of that oil built up on the top or whatever.
Hey, Prophet, Garage, where does he send you a shipping address to?
Huh?
Mr. Rods in chat said he's got the address for you.
Oh, for him?
He said, where do I send the shipping address?
Yeah, Hurtin Albertan, he beat me to it. He said, the AC Infinity fan there, Caribou, there's always Amazon, and I just Googled Amazon, and yeah, they have Amazon has it for $199.
Yeah, but is it the T series or the Cloud line? Because I believe those are two different series of fans, and I'm looking for the T series. And I think you're looking at
a Cloudline S or a Cloudline T. The S I think is for silent, and then the T is for temperature.
This one here is the Cloudline T6 quiet 6-inch inline duct fan with the temperature humidity controller.
Oh, then that is the one I want then, Rick.
$199.
And that's on Amazon.ca?
Yes, sir.
Well, it looks like I'll be placing an order real freaking quick then. Yeah. Thanks, Rick. I really appreciate it. I was online there yesterday looking at, I thought it was those ones, and I must have misread or something like that.
I'll send you the link.
I was all hot and horny to get that all that stuff ordered up, because it's just like all the pieces of the puzzle are just coming here together. I think the only thing I really need now is like my CO2 stuff after I get those fans ordered up. So because I'm gonna do that, go with a tent full of CO2. I might order one more tent, although I'm in no rush for that, just to have my steady bloom tent, make it a 5x5 instead of the 4x4s. But I've spent a small fortune up to this point doing this, and I can wait a few months for one more tent, right? It's not like a live and die kind of situation by any means. So, but it's
you're gonna need those fans though, Caribou, because I'll tell you what, man, that one cannon that raised my temperature in my tent over my LED by 8 degrees. So you're going to be running 2. So you're looking at close to like a 12 degree, anywhere from 12 to 16 degree temperature difference over like regular LEDs.
Yeah.
How many? How many? I'm sorry. How many watts are you running on those cannons?
It's 350.
350.
I thought
That's not a 1,000-watt light. Those cannons aren't 1,000 watts or anything like that.
No, it
They're not.
takes 2 of them for a 4x4 footprint, 3 of them for a 5x5 is my understanding.
What are those lights running?
One for a 3x3. But
yeah, I think they're 320, 340, 360, somewhere in and around there. I don't.
Let's put it this way: I had a 1,000-watt grow light in my tent. The Canon is 3 times brighter than that 1,000-watt grow light.
And what did the Canon cost?
It cost me $300.
All right, so it's a $300. How many now in the room to take up the footprint of a 1,000-watt, hood or whatever? How many cannons do you need?
Well, 1 cannon is good for a 3x3, 2 is good for a 4x4, and 3 is good for a 5x5.
God,
that's how it figures it all out.
I'd probably need 2 of
them. 17 with a remainder.
Hey, Prof, whatever you would light up your space wise with your Thaui, I would replace because you use a single ended, right?
The what?
You use a single ended. You don't use a double ended.
Yeah, I use a single ended. It's the Raptor, so it's a wide hood. You know what I'm saying? I got a good footprint.
Yeah, I'd say whatever footprint you're running off of your Thaui, I would just run 1 cannon to replace it. So if you're running, so if you're running like a Thaui, a plant, but your plant's taking up like a 3x3 or 4x4, that 1 cannon will take care of it. That's how I do it. I mean, it runs about the same. You just don't get the penetration down the plant like you would with like your HPS. So
see, that's what I was wondering too.
You have to grow a flatter canopy. You would almost like to grow in like those cages, that nice old school, basement style. You'll grow in tomato cage.
But if you notice, my canopy is always even.
But you will get less of that lower stuff is going to turn out to be something that's more compact. But you'll have tighter, nicer nugs on the whole top of it.
On the top.
So. But yeah, I mean, for me, I would take whatever footprint you have 1 Thaui over, I would just replace that with 1 cannon. Running full bore, it'll do about the same.
Maybe I'll buy one, do a round, and just see what the outcome is. I mean, it's not that pricey from like $300. Does it have its own ballast? Do I need the ballast for it? Like,
no, I would think it's included, right?
I'm used to having, when I buy a light, I'm used to having to buy a ballast with it. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. Your driver comes with your light. It's and he even has enough cord on there where you can decide whether you want your driver inside your tent or outside your tent. So,
and this is by Black Sale, right? This is by Black Sale.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna definitely think about it. I mean, it'd be nuts for me to drop my hood and then put a light up there just out of curiosity. And I'm also obsessed with owning equipment. So if I use it once and then put it in my closet, whatever. That or I'll send it to Caribou when he upgrades to another tent.
Hey, Johnny, looking good, buddy. Got your recovery removed from you. Oh, no, you're still... But that's not going to stop you from going to trim jail. Good boy. Good boy.
We love you, Johnny.
I love y'all.
Yeah, we had a great visit with the grow guy on Friday. Showed us around the shop. It was a lot of fun.
I missed that. That sucked.
Yeah.
I watched some of it on the TV. I was too medicated. I was hurting.
I was in the same position, Johnny. I only lasted like an hour and a half because I wasn't actually talking and I was trying to type, and then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm out. I gotta crash.
But I think like next Friday, he's going to want you to go down to his shop, and you guys are supposed to sit there after he closes up and watch the show together.
We're planning on having on a Friday night session. We're planning on having a poker game down there one of these nights, and just zooming on that and shutting off the volume and watching it on the TV.
Right on. Yeah. You showed us your favorite bar stool. Yeah, it was quite nice. Yeah. Hey, back to the cannons there, Caribou. Do you know what the U moles per joule it's rated at?
No, I do. I'm not a numbers person. I did know that yesterday when I was looking at it, but I've got to look at numbers a bunch of times for them to stick.
I know. Yeah, I know, Fluffy. You had. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your thought there.
No, I know. I'm just kind of a bit frustrated with myself because I knew I'd actually want to talk about these on today's show, and I wish I'd actually been a little bit more prepared so I could have a little bit of info because there's a lot of us or a lot of people watching that are already running cannons and know a bit about them, but there's also a bunch of people that they maybe heard about them or never have and don't know much about them. One point of comparison I would like to bring up is my buddy Myrtle Man that you've heard me talk about. He sent me some pictures through text message yesterday. I hope he posts them on Cannabuzz, but I don't know if he has or will. But it's peanut butter breath growing side by side. He's got, I think it's the Spider Farmer TS2000 LED light. And the side by side is with an HPS growing in, then he's got, so the Spider Farmer is Myrtle Man's growing, and the HPS is another local grower to our area. They're both using the same nutrient systems, growing in their own environment. The Myrtle Man's LED grow, it has way more trichome content to look at it from the pictures, better coloration and stuff like that. I don't know about the smoke test and all that, but from the visual looks of it, I'd say that the LED has done a better job than the 1,000-watt. And I happen to know that the guy using the 1,000-watters is using double-ended Gavitas. So that's something to take into consideration, I would definitely say. And knowing that the guy with the double-ended Gavitas and the HPS, he's no slouch as a grower. It's no knock on him whatsoever. This guy can grow. It's really interesting when you see these side-by-side comparisons. So it's as we keep talking about LEDs, and like Rick, I've been into your garden, I've seen what goes on, and I think you're probably the first garden I've been in where they're using all like top of the line LEDs instead of blurples and all this other stuff, and it's I'm seeing the difference.
So to tell you real quick, I just looked it up and I thought it was right. The black cell cannons run at about 2 U-moles a joule. So they're getting to be on what would be considered the lower end of the efficiency spectrum. Some of these new ones are coming out are damn near hitting 3. But what I can tell you is between like my HLG that I run and my cannon, I get a lot more penetration down inside my canopy. So I do a lot less trimming than I do with my HLG quantum board. I just do not get the penetration. Now, also, I've really stuffed my tent a little too full on the past 2 runs with my HLG comparatively to when I got my second cannon. But also that last run was pretty stuffed in my cannon tent too. So, and we'll see how everything looks when, dry comes out. I mean, I'm not worried about the weight. I got great weight in there, but and quality is going to be top notch. It's just matter. I like to see how far down the branch I can start stacking nubs, and get good solid stuff. And really my cannon tent does a lot better than my HLG tent than that. So, when he comes out with those planks, those flat, like quantum board replacements, I'm really excited to actually try one out to see, if it has the same kind of penetration like a cannon does. If it has that in a quantum board backer, I mean, you're not going to be able to get much better than that. Even if it is a little less efficient than, say, like these little bar lights that you can hang directly on the canopy. I mean, I haven't seen those guys getting any better penetration, being 6 inches off the canopy. So, we'll have to see what future holds there.
It's really exciting. And the penetration that I keep hearing about with the cannons, that's one of the things too, where So instead of having to pull off fan leaves and stuff like that to let a little bit more light in, let's just do a couple side by sides. Well, do one where you pull leaves off, and then do another one where you don't, clones off the same plant, and just see for comparison's sake. And if you're pounding that light down and in there, because let's grow big awesome buds, right?
Sorry, how close, Fluffykins, how close are you running both the HLG and the Canon to your canopy? How near?
I will grow it up to about a foot away from my light, both of them. And right after a foot, they really start to bleach tops and start getting some funky shit going on. But as long as I don't start, you know, if they grow up to that like 12-inch mark, they do pretty good. But if I just slam it down onto them, then, you know, 12 inches, it'll fry the shit out of them. But you know, while I'm growing, you know, I keep my light pinned, I keep them full tilt, and then I grow up into my light, kind of like more like a commercial environment would. I just don't like playing around with lifting and all that. I ain't got time for that. And so I just, I let them grow up into the lights. So I feel like they kind of get a good, you know, kind of like when you're hardening off a plant, taking it outside, you know, you can't just take it outside and let it hit the sun, because the sun's gonna fry it. So, you know, my idea is I keep my light pinned, and as they grow, you know, I know what layer my stretch is gonna start happening. So that's where my trellis sits, and then I'll trellis it out. And then you got that flower stretch, and then that'll go up to within 12 inches of my light usually, you know. And so that's kind of, while it's growing up into that intense light, you know, it's getting used to getting hit by that intense light. There is just a level where it's like, I don't give a shit, get me away from this light. But
and the HLG, how many watts are they using? Your HLG?
My HLG is a 320 watt HLG. They don't even make the one that I have. I think they made it for like 2 months and quit making it. But I like it. It's a great light. I just, I want to replace it with some of the newer boards that have like the little red strips in them, you know, the R boards. I'd really like to replace the boards with some of those, just to see if the little bit of red would help anything in there.
Yeah, I have the HLG 650R. Now, is that R? Is that for the red? Because I know there's a few reds within the board. But they recommend for my light between 40 and 48 inches from the canopy.
Yeah, but I've also seen people grow closer to it than that. I mean, it's like I said, you know, I think it's a hardening off thing. You can kind of get that plant to be a lot more accepting of being that close to that intense light.
I get it.
If grown super healthy, but I do, you know, their recommendations, you know, they always, and they'll tell you, you know, that's a recommendation. It doesn't mean you can't get above it, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't, but it's better off that you don't.
No, and then of course I see in some of the commercial growths, God, they got to be between 5 and 8 feet away from the canopy. I mean, they're way up there. They're
also running, you know, 50,000 watt rooms. I mean, they've got light touching everything. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier when you have a whole ceiling full of light to be able to do whatever the hell you want. Because at some point you're going to throw enough photons in that room. It's not going to matter how close they are. You're just going to get there.
On that same subject, you can put in too much light into your garden.
I think you can. I think you get too much light if you put too much in too close. I don't know if you had, like you said, 8-10 foot up there. If you had that, you were just blasting the whole room with as much light as possible. I mean, eventually you'll burn them, but I don't know when.
I don't think you'd actually burn them. Maybe they would suffer from photon shock because of too much photons. But if they're that high, I don't think you would ever burn them. When you get them too close, you can burn them, if you have the lights too close, but you also get a thing called bleaching. I don't know if any of you come across that, where your bud turns white. Yeah, that is usually when your light is too close. But when you got them jacked up that high, if you ain't building up heat or anything like that, the worst comes to worst, putting them in under too much light too soon could cause photon shock, and that would basically make the plant droop and basically put it into the shock state. You know that we all know what shock looks like. So that's probably the only thing I could think of. I don't think a plant could technically in flower or anything like that get too much light. Keep in mind, this thing's made to be out in sunlight, and no matter how hard we try, we can't replicate sunlight. We can get close, but when you put a plant outside, I said this before, you put a plant outside, that thing seems to be praying way more than it, no matter what spectrum of light you have that's inside your house, whether it's HPS and metal halide, full spectrum, even LEDs. You'll get your plants to pray, but there's just something about outside where like an outdoor plant literally looks like it's reaching for the sky. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you have that much height, I don't think you have to worry about, bleaching or anything like that, or too much light, unless it's not in flower. Veg, I photon shocked it because I've taken it from, what the 3000K friggin' T5 lights is that. I'm not good with the output of numbers and shit, but 3500 or something. But I went from there figuring I would accelerate my smaller plants by putting them under my 1000, while they're on, and the next thing you know, that plant's sagging, like drooping, because it just got bombarded by too powerful a photon at an early stage.
That's kind of that hardening off factor. That's like the same thing when you start your indoor plants, to take outdoors. You got to start them, even if you have that thing under like a Sowie, in here, when you go take that outside, you still almost have to baby it a little bit, because even that Sowie ain't, doing what that sun's going to do to it.
Nah.
So you have to take it out there, sit it there for a few hours, bring it back in. Next day, it gets to stay out there a little longer, and that's getting that used to all of those photons that the sun are just beating the shit out of it with. And and then, you use those small little series when you're growing. At least I do. It's like the sun, it goes from like left to right. It doesn't fucking go up and down really. I mean, it does a little bit, as it's going, but I mean, we're not adjusting. I'm not adjusting where my light is on my plant. I'm gonna let it grow up into that intense light, and I feel like that's either way, that's what it's doing. It's growing closer to its light source. So that's what I want my plants to do. And that's why I don't move anything. I let it go up into it. And I will let it grow close. And I think that's part of like why I don't see that many issues when I do accidentally get too close to the light.
See, I had plants that I had under the white lights, the fluorescent T5s, and they were vegging for like a month. Actually, it might have been 2 months. But it was probably, I don't know, a couple weeks in the summer over here on the East Coast, and I put them outside, and then they instantly converted to go into flower, even though I was still getting 15 hours of fucking sunlight or more because it was summer, But as soon as I brought them from the inside and I put them outside, I don't know what the fuck happened, but they transitioned right into flower. Like I didn't get a huge yield or anything like that. It seemed like it didn't actually get, just because it went into flower early doesn't mean I got 4 months of flower. You know what I'm saying? I got cut short at the 2 months. So all those major drastic changes that would happen seasonal because of, bringing in the cold, which helps, increase trichomes and the colors and and the terpenes. I got robbed that because by the beginning of when it should have went in the flower, I had to cut it down, and it didn't increase my yields or anything like that. But I was completely fucking bewildered as to why it went in the flower. Like when I put it outside, I was like, okay, it's 3 hours shorter than the 18 that I give it, or so, maybe 2 hours, but it still just didn't quite make sense at all
Well, I
to
don't
me.
know if it's something that everybody does, that goes outside, but I will set my timers to the exact time of sunrise and stuff. That is the one time I will get really crazy about timers. Is I will set my timers if I'm going outdoors to be the exact same like sunset as my outdoor plant's going to go out into. So when I've got mine coming up, I keep it at like a 16-hour veg. And then once I hit 16 hours outside, I'll give it a little time and I'll raise like that 15 minutes or whatever per week or day that you get outside, and so my lights on and off are going to come the same time as the sun's going to come up and down. That way I can go directly outside and it doesn't do something like freak out because, it went from an 18-hour nice, cushy cycle to like, you drop 3 hours off of it, which was close to flowering time. So it was like, oh shit, all the shit's right outside for flowering, so it hurried up and jumped on it, where, if you would have had maybe that lower light cycle and it went out there, it very possibly could have not flowered because you didn't just drop that time right off of it. A lot of guys will talk about how they flip from flower, they'll steadily come down. Me and DP talked about that a little bit because I'll do that.
You talk about hours. You drop your hours.
I'll drop hours off, per week or day or whatever, instead of just going into a 12-hour flip. But even when I just go into a 12-hour flip, I mean those plants, I see them respond instantly. I can definitely tell I flipped the life cycle. They're like, oh shit, something weird's happening. I can tell that cycle's starting when I just flip. When I do a nice easy flip, I just see better. When I just take time off, I just see it come in thicker and nicer, and it's more manageable with like fan leaf, trying to defoliate and stuff like that.
See, I take the last week and I'll drop it like an hour, especially to kind of darken everything up. But I've had plants actually it was my friend's plant, and you ever had a plant that you threw into 12 and 12 and it just didn't want to flip to flower before? Because my friend's plant did that. We switched it to 12 and 12, wouldn't go into flower, and then I told him to drop it down to 11 hours to maybe trick the plant, and he did that for another week and it still didn't flip the flower. And finally I was like, all right, kill it for 2 days in complete darkness and then kick it back on, and then after a week it finally kicked in the flower. But I've never had such a hard time trying to get a goddamn plant to go into flower. I was like, all right, let's shock the shit out of this thing. And I took the light right away for 2 days just to make that plant realize that now it's time to get your ass in gear and do something, but it didn't want to hear it, man. 11 hours I was giving it like of just light, to convince it that it was going in the flower, because 12 and 12 it didn't want to hear it, but it just needed a real kick in the ass with 2 days.
I hate those plants that fight you every step of the way. It's just like, come on now, like work with me here.
Dude, what's worse is when you got like 6 of the same plants and you got them, you treat them all the same and you feed them all the same, but there's one stubborn whore that just doesn't want to fucking work. And it's like, you're cut from the same cloth. I'm feeding you all the same things. You're all under the same fucking schedule. Why are you fucking with me?
Yeah, there's no real rationalization for it. You could try moving around on your table to different spots, thinking maybe it's just you're getting hit with light at a bit different angle or something. And no, it's yeah.
It's a weak plan. It ends up being the weakest plan. You're like, what is going on with you? I flushed you. I've treated you. I even cuddled you and coddled you, and you just. You're not like your sisters, man. I ignore them and just feed them, and they're fucking fine.
Or another strange one I've seen happen is where you have like the run to the litter comes from behind and ends up being like king shit.
Yeah, the struggler seeds afterwards come back stronger, man. That's why in veg, these plants love stress. Like, the more I beat up a plant, realistically, it comes back even stronger, you know? Don't do that in flower. You'll regret it. But in veg, you can almost do, besides practically, overfeeding it or underfeeding it. But I mean, as far as cutting and bending and trimming and doing whatever, these plants just thrive on it.
Yep.
That's the one thing I've never had the guts to try is to twist my plants, like and get those knuckles on them like that. I've never done that.
Super cropping.
I'm afraid I'm going to just tear them up, dude.
You got to go slow, man. When you bend it, you got to actually take the stem and you got to crush the stem first. Don't just stop bending the thing. You'll snap it. You crush it a couple of times, with your finger. Work it up, work it down, work it up, work it down. It's not a quick process, especially if the stems thick and you don't want to snap it. And after a while, you get that bend down. It's going to take you a couple of days because light's going to want to pull it up. But once you keep prinking and slowly bending that down, don't get overzealous and be like, wee, snap. Just take it. It's going to take you, 3 days. Take your time, 3 days, just crimping it so that you're breaking the fiber before you try to bend it. Otherwise, there's no resistance. The shit's too tight. So when you break the fibers, it allows it to freaking bend. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to it being a rigid thing, and then you go to bend it, you're going to snap it. So you just got to work it, and then work it up, work it down, get that bend going, and then start keeping it going down the next couple of days. Did you enjoy my hand puppet movements? Did that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. That's like bending them. But Rasta Jeff's talking about taking your hand and like twisting it, It's like, man, I'm just so scared I'm going to twist it. It's just going to die. Right
yeah.
You'll get the feel for it. Just kind of start slow. It's the same feeling as when you crack your knuckles, kind of. That's right. And just grab them and give it a little bit of twist each way, and you'll feel it go. Start with a bit of a harder stalk, because otherwise, if you go with just a green tip, you won't know the feeling necessarily, and you will just rip a part of the brand off. But,
you know why they do that, though, right? It rushes THC, because THC works a lot like, our blood cells. If we're injured, blood cells get rushed to the injured spot.
Yep.
Well, the same thing happens with THC. So if you injure a spot or whatever, it rushes more THC to that location, if I remember correctly. And it causes that branch from that moment up, if it's a bud, to actually be possibly more potent, because more THC has been run through there.
Here's one thing you got to remember.
Huh?
Here's one thing you got to remember, Driss. These plants are super freaking resilient. I mean, I have absolutely, just take and just freaking snap one like that. You would see both sides blow out. You would split the stem in half, all right, and just let that thing flop. And you give that thing the time, and it's just going to come back, all right? I'm not building freaking supercharged race cars. I'm not trying to get to the finish line as fast as I can. That's not my goal when I grow my medicine. I don't care, how much and how quick I get it in. So I have time. I can crush it. I can bend it. I can slow it down. But I mean, you can chop that. A re-veg is the perfect example of how resilient these plants are. You chop that thing down, leave one nug on that plant that you just completely massacred. Throw it in a tent, give it some time, and you have a brand new plant that shows up. Just gonna grow. So when you go to start training your plant, I mean, you got to remind everybody. I realize the plant is it's a huge commodity. These seeds are expensive. We want to get our medicine out, but it's like a computer. Everybody's so worried that they're so delicate. The thing is not that delicate, man.
No, it isn't.
You can work with these plants. You can bend them, you twist them. And whoever in YouTube said the Cushman chiropractor, that is the best thing I've ever heard. But I just wanted to get that out. We call it weed for a reason, man. These things grow, and you can't stop them. And life will find a way. If you think you fucked it up, the only thing you fucked up was trying to give it too much love. It'll recover itself. You know, leave the damn thing alone. Those plants don't like you.
I mean, I'm only on my first grow, but I know I was trying to, like stretch out the bottom branches of not knowing what I'm doing, but one just split off and it was just like hanging down on the rim of the my pot or whatever, and I just like propped it up slightly, but I was like, well, that's broken. But sure enough, now there's like the biggest fucking knuckle there, and the branch just like grew way down, and I mean, it seems like it's stronger than the one on the other
Well,
side.
that's what they say. Those knuckles are supposed to make it stronger so that it can actually hold more weight. And I get the principle behind it. It's just I'm so scared to do it because I don't want to ruin that plant. Like Fluffy said, those seeds are expensive. Everything's expensive, and I can't afford to like lose to grow. You know what I'm saying?
I think I totally understand what you're saying, Drizzit, but at the same time, don't afraid to be bold with your plants because Fluffy's absolutely right. Like a lot. Same with think of like lollipopping. I don't know if you're into that, but a lot of people when they start lollipopping their plants, they're like, oh, but those are like bud sites down there I'm pulling off. But it's like, yeah, but those are shit bud sites that are never really going to amount to anything, and you're only going to improve up here, right? So once you get people past that, okay, all that larfy garbage down there, it'll never do nothing for you. It's kind of they just see you're throwing out this product, right? It's same kind of thing once you once you get used to snapping and bending, and you're like, oh, I can do that, and my plants don't necessarily suffer. And then pretty soon you'll be like, oh yeah, it works, and you end up having a bit of fun with it. It's
I totally understand when you have like a plant limit and stuff like that, and then like with like the pheno hunt I'm doing with yours, Caribou, it's so much easier to be like, okay, yeah, let's see what happens with this one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like I can play around with it when you got a little bit more stuff going on. You know what I mean? Because now I can practice overwatering one in the same pot as one right next to it, just to kind of see the difference type deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And then I can blame my fuck ups on that too. I was like, oh yeah, I meant to do that. Just to see what would happen. But it's all learning. You know what I mean? Like. Yep. And that's a cool thing because I'm practicing super topping or super cropping on some super crop one that I top just to see the kind of difference, just to see what's going on with it and see if I'm going to like that in the bigger run 10.
Well, and I also like try the top early, top often philosophy too, and just see how bushy you can get one of these things. That's a lot of fun as well.
Hey, I'm doing a pheno hunt. Meathead right here.
Those are meathead, Johnny?
Yeah.
Awesome. How many you got there?
A lot.
16 of them, and then I got 5 number 7s.
Nice.
Oh, Caribou.
That's exciting. I can't wait to see what happens there.
Well, I hope he gets that room done soon, because otherwise I'm gonna be switching over to Caribou stuff in here.
That'll be exciting. Can't
wait.
Johnny's got it going on. Hey, what were you cutting up earlier, Johnny? That stuff looked good.
Wasn't that the sour diesel, I think?
No, the sour diesel was cut up earlier in the week. That was I looked it up. That was the Canico. It was at day 75.
Canico. That's right.
From Hypothetical. I'm gonna get some nice juicy nugs out of it.
Oh yeah, you came a long way, Johnny.
I remember those days just pumping everything I could, as many as I could, man. And then it's like once they get in the 1 gallon pots, they start taking up room. And then when you start going into next gallon pots, you're like, oh my God, what the fuck am I gonna do with this jungle?
Well,
I don't even like maintaining it.
I always compare growing pot to like a lung and taking a breath and then exhaling. Because it's like you start with your seeds, right? And you're like germinating them in paper towel. You could put thousands of seeds in your palm of your hand, literally. And then you put them in solo cups, right? So you take a deeper breath a little bit as they expand. 1 gallon pots, again, 5 gallons, et cetera, et cetera. And then you throw everything in your bloom room and you just exhaled. All right, now you got all this room again. Start breathing.
Oh yeah. And
it's same thing with when you throw stuff in your bloom room as well. It's yeah.
I'm glad I dropped down. Like I said, I flowered 3 in 15-gallon pots, and I know a 1,000 watt light, and I'm very happy with that. My bedroom's got like 8 of them, but I try not to overload because I'm like, I gotta run more lights. I gotta get more cocoa. I gotta be able to move these things as they get bigger. But me being down to just a personal grower, smoker, and whatnot, not trying to be a millionaire or anything out of this. I tried that once. It got very, very, very tiring. Trying to run this to make, as like Indica, he talks about it all the time. This dude's nonstop. Like I tried that route. Didn't want to do it anymore. I'm just kind of faded out, do my own thing, and I'm happy where I'm at. But I went ballistic like Johnny when I first got my card. Mad plants, dude. All types of different grows. I was growing 5 different ways, hydro, cocoa, super soil. I was mixing my own super soil. Like I wanted to do it all. And then, you start fading down as the bills go up, and you're like, yeah, all right, I need to make things a little more economical.
Prophet, I think you just completely summed me up right there, brother. I started off growing a couple of years before we went legal here in Canada, but knowing 4 plants was going to be our limit, so I try to keep it 10 or less sort of plants, kind of hovering around the 4 roughly. And then we got licensed, and all of a sudden it's okay, we could start fucking around this, so that means we have to put more lights on, etc., etc. You just keep thinking go big or go home is kind of my mindset in life seems to be like anything worth doing is worth overdoing, including growing pot. And so you can focus. I focus more on like my plant count and how I can have all these bigger numbers, and I kind of end up setting myself back because if I would focus on say just a 2 light bloom system, and then getting a good vegging system laid out so you can keep that perpetual grow. I would have ended up harvesting a lot more weight in the long run, I think, because there's been a lot of grows because I'm the kind of guy that's always fucking around, always trying something new. And it's just you end up setting yourself back because you need your control that you're always, okay, I'm going to do this because I know I can get my harvest weights out of doing this.
Yeah.
And then have your fuck around area over here. And so I really wish that I would have just said, no, I'm gonna stay small and keep it small because and here's Indica B stepping on right now. Awesome. I love this guy. Well, we all do. Because if I would have realized sooner, just dial it down because I'm a medical grower. I don't need to grow pounds of weed. I was growing for myself and my wife. We go through a lot of weed, but not pounds and pounds at a time. Should have dumbed it down like I'm trying to do now. We would have been way better off in the long run.
I had somebody pushing me along the way too. Like they just kept showing up with more, like my partner, and that's why I got rid of him because you can have a partner, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Yep. So he was, dude. We were in the middle of flowering, probably week 5. I came to the grow house. All right. He tore down all the lights. Now, mind you, we're in flower, and added up an extra 2,000 watts. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we already got like a $700 bill, dude. What are you doing? Like, why are you changing it in the middle of flower? And it would be constant like this, dude. I'd come home, I'd come to the grow, and he'd have just spent $800 on an ebb and flow system. And I'm like, all right, dude. And then, like I said, he was one of those people that was like, all right, to get more, we need more lights, we need more power. And I'm like, we need to be able to pull a good weight off of just 1,000 watts before you want to throw fucking 4 in there. All right. Because if we don't have this down, we don't deserve to move on. And that's why I dropped back,
See, that's exactly was my problem right there is putting more lights on before I'm ready to handle those lights. and we end up with this huge, massive power bill that is just completely setting us back. So like I said, go back to a smaller space, learn to dial in that space. Let's say, I've been saying I'm going to be running CO2 here real soon, because that'll help maximize that small grow space, and it's going to be cheaper to run CO2 in this small space than it will in a big room anyways. And I firmly believe that everything you're saying is summing me up, and that you are also 100% correct in what you're saying. Get good at small.
Well, I'll tell you what, like I said, I've done real drugs, and I've never owed anybody that much money like I owed the electric company, okay? And that terrified me, man. It was like a smack to the face, It's like, holy shit, dude.
You didn't steal your power back in the day like a real grower? Come on, man.
Steal my power?
You didn't know that? Yeah, that was the first thing you were supposed to do when you set up your grow room, was steal your damn power. You had to know where you were pulling it from.
Well, I mean, I had a few ideas, but I'm in a pretty tight area, like a city or whatever. So I mean, I could turn a car alternator into an actual generator to run 220, hook it up to your house, and then we can bypass the electric company all we want, But I mean, they're not going to be very happy about that shit, So, like I said, I ran my lights at night, where I would save money because it's not peak hours if you run your lights at night. So, I do all the small things. I actually had a few ideas of trying to take a circulatory system, hydro, it's like 4 buckets connected with the tubes, and it's a complete circulatory system. I was thinking about adding turbines in there that produced electricity, so as the water was running through, I could run the power to actually run the system itself, So, I mean, there were things running through my head, but at the same time, I'm like, it's just how many shortcuts can you really come through, And I'm not an electrician, so me wiring it, I probably would have electrocuted myself, water and power, I got a bad habit of doing stuff like that, so, I wouldn't have been able to wire it. I would have had to find somebody to actually do it. Got the idea, but, putting it together, that's a different story.
For me, it was always hard getting bulbs. You got to climb up the fucking, the parking lot poles to get the goddamn bulbs, back in the day. That was the part that sucked.
What'd you say? Yeah. Climbing the what? What'd you do?
Climbing the light poles in the parking lots, So
oh, dude, I hung billboards. I had full access to 1,000-watt fucking bulbs. Like, that was one of my job. I changed the bulb on billboards, and you wouldn't, dude, there were 1,000-watt HPS up there. Some of them are 600, but most of them, the big ones, are 1,000-watt HPSs.
That was always the problem I had. I work in the industrial industry, and, we have HPS and metal halides all over the place, but they were always either 300 or 600. I'm like, I need 1,000. So you always had to go to the parking lot.
I'm sorry, that was metal halide. It's the white light, not the orange light that goes on the billboard. My bad. It's 1,000-watt metal halide. But then what the funny is, I had all those bulbs, but I couldn't come across lights because this was like 15, 20 years ago. I knew I could use them to grow, but like to come across a grow light back then that would fit a 1,000-watt bulb was like tough, like you didn't want to be that guy ordering a 1,000-watt grow light to your house. You know what I'm saying? Now it don't matter.
No. Hell, we've done everything. I mean, we backed the car into one to knock the damn pole down so we didn't have to, climb it to get the light.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. You should have climbed it, you lazy bastard.
They don't call it fluffy for nothing, man.
Nah, dude, I love climbing billboards. 200 feet, the higher the better. It's just being up there, dude, and on a windy day, the billboard rocks like this, and you're just standing there like, this is great. You free fall, the only thing you're hitting is a concrete freaking dry parking lot, because 90% of billboards are off the highway and parking lots. Figure swan dive. It'll be quick.
God, I'm getting queasy just watching you move back and forth on the couch, for God's sake.
Oh yeah, dude. I used to look straight down, man. Like I've gotten nabbed a few times for not using my safety harness, but I mean, it got in my way. Like, I felt confident enough that I been climbing my whole life. Now I got these things hanging off me, and as I'm climbing across L channel and shit, all of a sudden I'm hooked, and it's like fuck. You know, now I gotta hang out here, try to unhook myself. You know, so I don't know. I've always loved that job. I loved heights.
And
I
make
miss
sure
it.
you wear that safety helmet because, you know, it'll save your life when you drop 200 feet.
Helmet?
Yeah.
The last thing I'm worried about is my skull dropping 200 feet, dude. Actually, I'm diving straight down so I don't have to deal with the recovery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to electricity.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was enjoying the byline there, but yeah, in Canada, like it's always been more frowned on to steal electricity rather than get busted for growing pot. They like many times. I can speak from example. I mean, they said, okay, you know, shut it down, and I had to pull out all my plants, and you know, they didn't give me a ticket or anything, just. But for electricity, oh yeah, they throw the book at you. Absolutely.
So you can't make like a turbine generator or even a hydro generator or anything like that.
Oh, you could
do
get
that.
creative. You know, I've got a generator, but I got it more for just keeping my house warm.
No, not a generator. Something that would actually produce energy.
Yeah,
Like
you can do that around here, Prophet. Like the living off grid is actually kind of encouraged to some extent out here. But
Cool.
it's when you're actually stealing the power, from like, you know, just jacking it before the meter on a house or whatever, like that. That's,
gotcha.
You get caught doing that because it's the government.
Yeah, same here.
Stuff like
same
that.
here.
So, you know, if you're fucking around with their money, they're gonna jump on you with 2 feet kind of thing. Whereas, you know, just say, hey, if you're peddling drugs, that's a.
Yeah, see, they don't want you living off the grid around here. They like you nice and dependent.
Yeah.
Also,
The second you
back in
fuck
the
up,
day-
they can cut you off.
Also, back in the day, you stealing power was just the extra nail in the coffin when you got caught, you know, selling pot. That was just, they just want to hit you with charge after charge. So, you know, stealing power is a slap on the wrist around here. You know, your first like 2 or 3 times you do it, you know, they're just going to come by, give you a little fine, no big deal. But, you know, if you're stealing power and growing pot with it, oh, buddy, oh, they will throw the book at your ass. So that's why they like that.
Yeah.
See, when I was in the shit end of the ghetto, there was a lot of people getting their gas shut off, and we were figuring out ways to cut those locks and get our gas back.
Yeah, if you
We
ain't
might
been
have
broke,
the
you're
key
trying
for
to
the
steal
water
some
main.
kind of utility.
What was that, 71?
We used to have the key for the water for the when they had
Fire hydrant?
No, not the fire hydrant. Where they cut the water on and off at. They have.
All right, yep.
Or everyone in the neighborhood usually has one of those, or someone in the neighborhood does. Yeah, come in handy.
Learn to angle iron is your best friend to get through anything.
Yeah. Good old days.
Yeah, don't deal with that anymore. I'm too old to be playing around.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of stuff that I don't even consider doing anymore. You know, you do a lot of things when you're a kid. You're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Now, I wouldn't even consider doing stuff like that, like climbing up a pole to hijack cable. You know, I used to do things like that. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's not worth it.
I climbed the pole for fun. I wouldn't hijack cable.
No, I think we need to title this show "Allegedly," just so that we can. We have all allegedly done these things, you know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Scotty would say our Uncle Trip did all of these things. We did none of this. It's all a friend of a friend.
Heard said, "Remember the black box?"
Oh God, yeah.
Dude, it was always hard to find somebody who could get you a reliable black box to get all your, you know, nudie channels and HBO and Showtime and Cinemax. Love those black boxes.
Oh yeah, especially because they, like you said, they cleared the porn up. You know, you'd be watching it when you were a kid, and it's like, there's a boob. See the scramble? There's a boob.
3 a.m. sound down so your parents can't hear
Yeah.
Scramble.
Yep.
Funny as hell. Hurry, go to 98.
Okay, so that wasn't just us little backwoods hicks up here in Canada.
No.
America thing.
Oh yeah, that's a guy thing, man, or a teenage thing. That's a teenage thing, you know.
I got that EF100 sitting in the lobby. I got Amazon Christmas yesterday, and I missed it when I was at work, and nobody's in the lobby today. So tomorrow gets to be Christmas morning. I got a lot of stuff. I got to try to get that one flower and plant under control. Fluffy's been trying to help me with it.
Yeah, like you keep sitting here saying you got a lockout or whatever, and you're at week 7. You have a few weeks left. I'm kind of, what's leading you to believe that? Because the only thing it shows, or what I can tell, in my opinion, is that you're suffering from a phosphorus deficiency. You need to pump it up more because it's in high grade flower production. And if you had a lockout, you would have a lot more other things going, like nitrogen deficiencies and shit like that. You know, it's just edges.
I can't put more nutrients in if it's not uptaking any. You know what I mean? I can put plain water in, and my ppms are coming way out 400 or 500 up higher. You know what I mean? So what was happening was I wasn't watering right. I wasn't getting full saturation in the soil because the way I had it trained, I was using a gallon. So I was just basically pocket watering it. So when I don't know
what ppms run as far as compared to pH. So do you know what your pH is? Because I can hammer some ppms in, and it doesn't matter as long as my pH is right. It's gonna take it up.
Yeah, my pH is in mid 6s.
Mid like 6.5.
Yeah, it's right around.
That's fine, dude. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I run at
what
6.
What he really has going on is it's not so much a lockout as it's not uptaking anything. He's basically got kind of like a clogged system. So we kind of figured out. He said his plant's in the back corner, so he hasn't been like watering all the way around the plant. So what he did was he probably created a pocket in there of just like a salt tunnel. So all of the nutrients that would go in would just stay in that one little area. So they couldn't get out and the plant couldn't eat them. So as he's watering, you know, that plant is showing the signs of a lockout or a deficiency because it can't get to the nutrients that's in there. So he's got to flush that out, break up that layer. I told him like, I told him like, get some like SLF 100. That's like an enzyme that'll go down there and it'll eat that like salt layer that's inside there. And it'll just open that up. And then he needs to, you know, to start making sure that he waters around that so he doesn't like cause a tunneling effect inside of there.
Right.
That's kind of what we figured out after we had talked about it for a little while.
Now, once you clear that out, you're going to have to renewt that thing because the first thing that goes is usually nitrogen, and you're going to have to resupplement that once you flush it, right?
Yeah, because I kept on thinking it was a lockout, so I'd flush it and stuff like that. It'd get flushed, but as soon as I started feeding it again, it was just doing that same thing. It just pocket down, it gurgled down, and then air pockets coming up over there, a bunch of salt, and it just never got flushed out all the way out like that after the initial flush. So once I started feeding it again, even though I was feeding water, that improper watering, it wasn't getting the full saturation of the soil. So
now, also DP, would you be rotating the plants like that?
I got them netted in right now, but if I wasn't netted in, I definitely would. So the way I have it netted in and the way I trained them with all the training wires holding everything down and all these legs everywhere with a gallon, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I should have just gone and got one of those watering cans. You know what I mean? Should have done a lot of things. So it's just one of those things. Hey, okay, yeah. People say that shit for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
Murphy's Law tends to apply in cannabis a lot. You know, if you don't cover the basis, then it'll happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I get it. I guess it's what's important is that you do have access to that back area somehow. I've seen tents that they open on all 4 sides. I mean, that's got to be cool.
Yeah, and this one will. I just have it pinned up against the corner. So I just got to do some rearranging. Once I get this harvest down, I'm going to redo everything, get everything taken out, gutted, move around the shelvings around what I got, and just make it an ideal environment, because that's really what you need for you know, cannabis to thrive. And that's what I want. I want good high grade cannabis, good medicine, you know. And
yeah.
You know?
Myself, I've only started using netting for this might be my barely less than the last year. Up until then, I've always used tomato cages and bamboo and stuff. And just so that I have the luxury of, if I got a plant that's in trouble, I can take it out and get it away from the other ones. Also, I can turn the plant so I can get the light coming down on it and just working on it, being, you know, and looking for any signs of pathogens or spider mites, or being able to get right in there and work at it. And but with the new system I have, I'm able to access all the way around my bed, so I can work every aspect of it. Excuse me. And now I've gone to the netting and the scrog, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But it comes with that the fact that you've got to be able to get in and under and around every single plant. It's absolutely vital, because all kinds of shit can get going on in there, and you'll be oblivious to it. You won't even know what's happening.
Happened to me. My first grog, I did a 5x8. It was the size of my room, and I locked my whole room like next to the wall. You know what I'm saying? And I could get a good portion of it, but there was that back plant that I just couldn't get to. And then, like, you notice all of a sudden you're looking, and you're like, from a distance, you're like, is that a wet? Holy shit! I got a whole entire spider mite web colony going on in that back plant because I can't reach it. So it's always key. You got to be able to get all the way around. Like, in my opinion, you got to be able to get all the way around your plants, you know, just so you can look at them, because if they're stuck in the back, dude, like you said, anything could be going on over there. You know, I've never seen webs form on a bud from spider mites before. It was like my second grow or whatever, but it was crazy, dude. It was crazy. It literally looked like the buds were cocooned in a web. It was terrifying.
I had a run-in with spider mites that just made me sad as could be. I was out of town working, and my son was taking care of my garden, and I was like, hey, you know, just send me pictures, you know, updates and everything. Somehow or another, my environment had just got screwed up, and my son sends me a picture, and like 30% of the buds in my tent, I could see through the picture, were webbed. I mean, my whole tent was just fucking webbed. And I was like, I got home, and, you know, I don't want to bust his ass. He's not a gardener. He doesn't, you know, granted, most of this stuff I do for him, but I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, didn't you think you should tell me about this so I could tell you how to fix it? And he's like, oh, I didn't even notice. So how the fuck did you not notice?
Hey, listen, I want to take a break in the action to welcome Indica in the house, buddy. Good to see you, man.
What's up, Indica?
I'm afraid to ask, but so have you been busy?
Oh God, man, busy. I don't know if that's the word, dude. And then
he's been killing it from what he's showing.
Yeah, and then just fucking family tribulations. I guess I have to unfortunately be there for. You know, some shit happened, unfortunately. But yeah, between that and downstairs, yeah, man, we've been fucking busy. I could say that. And then last night we were laying in bed after transplant, and the wife and I, and she like wakes me up saying that she smells something burning, and I'm like, no, I don't smell shit. Like, go back to bed. Like, no. She's like, go downstairs, babe. Please just go downstairs. So I go downstairs. Sure enough, my float gave out on my 32-gallon tank, and I fucking was staring at like 10, 15 gallons of fucking water at 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, man, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, but I'm pumped to be here and be with my brothers, man. So I got a big smile on, and yeah, it's much needed. So
right on, buddy. Good to see you back.
So glad to have you, man. It's just not quite the same when we don't have you around.
Thank you, man. Oh no, believe me, dude. I've been missing you guys a lot, man. It's much needed. So
let's be honest,
How's
you
the
bring
job
a small
going?
layer of class to this shit show that we just don't have.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
How's
So,
the
hey.
job going, Indica?
Oh, I start 22nd of this month, man. I'm just waiting on state to get my agent badge and shit like that. So I guess right now it's been taking like 3 weeks, unfortunately, because they're so backed up. So they say the 22nd, but who knows? Maybe I get a phone call this week or next week. It'll be earlier, which will be cool. So we'll see.
And Mrs. B is stepping up to take care of things at home for you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, she's killing it, dude. She's doing really good. So yeah. I have the most confidence in my heart, that she'll be good. I think she'll be all right, and if we lose some plants on the way, that's how you learn, man. You know what I mean?
Hey.
So that's the only way you're gonna.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So is it much of a drive from your place to your new job?
Actually, no. It's like it's the exit after the job that I quit from. So it's right down the street. So yeah, not too far. So about 25 minutes, give or take.
That and then I'll let somebody else ask a question. But that land that you were looking at and it got sold, was that the one with the creek running through it? You had mentioned 20.
Yeah. So yeah, that had that. Shout out to Automation Freedom this morning, Papa Z. Those are my two my business guys there, and Automation Freedom actually found a place out in Sturbridge, Mass, that we're gonna go check out. It's got a creek that literally runs right through the middle too as well. So well, hopefully we're keeping our fingers crossed. We found another piece, but it was just the terrain of it and the rocks. We would have spent unnecessary money trying to get something going there. You know what I mean? So yeah, so we're gonna go hopefully next weekend, waiting on the realtor now, but he texted me this morning. He's like, I don't really fucking care if they don't text us back or message me back. We're going to look at it, man. We got to see this shit. So we're gonna roll up there next Saturday, man, and go fuck it. Realtor or not, we're walking it. So fuck you, we're gonna make it happen. And because like even the realtor was like, I don't know if you guys really want it for this, and like I said, I'm like, I just, he's a realtor, man. I don't think he understands what we were really looking for and what we need. And what if he's saying that and it's really what we need and we never go look at it because we're listening to this guy that just sells fucking houses, man. You know what I mean? No offense to any realtors, I'm just hypothetically saying, so yeah, man. So yeah, I'm pumped for that. So
cool. So I just gotta, switching gears here a little bit, but I gotta say it while it's on my mind. So during the Friday show, take a step back. It was that faithful show that I ate some of my own cooking and made a really strong batch of brownies, let me tell you. And well, basically, I may as well admit it. I fucking fell asleep while I was on the Zoom thing. And didn't really notice it until I watched it myself the next day. And I'm looking, I go, fuck, I'm asleep, man. Anyway, okay. Fast forward to the show on Friday. And Grow Guy was here. And so he tells the story that him and his wife are in bed watching me, and she's commenting like, is he asleep? Anyway, I don't know how I feel about the three of us in their bedroom together. Like there's something wrong about that. Okay, I'm just saying. There, got it off my mind.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that one, man. And see.
Tell you what, I love some of the shit that Rick comes up with. You know what I'm saying? Some of that shit that Rick worries about, it really makes my day.
Absolutely, I agree.
Ooh, and I just want to say I'm so happy to see Axel right now. Love that dude.
Yeah, he was trying to be a camera hog.
Oh, busted. Okay, I'm gonna mute now. You know what mute means?
Hey, I saw something in chat like way earlier. You know, when we were discussing lights, somebody had asked about like you know, the guys who were using shade cloth and stuff. I think it was Hurt and Albertan.
Yeah, it was.
For people out there who maybe don't know, or you know, are kind of learning it, it's you know, plants only take so much light. So if you know you're running a 5x5, and after 16 hours, your plants almost look like they're overwatered or something, or underwatered. You know, they look a little droopy, maybe even a little sad. You have actually hit like your like daily light integral. You have hit the amount of lights that your plant wants, and they're not going to take anymore. So if you have a system set up and you're starting to see that, you could actually dial your light back to save energy. And in essence, it's the same thing that a shade cloth does. So the plants outside, you know, they'll run a greenhouse, and those plants will hit a certain time of day where, you know, they're just done. They don't want any more. So they'll shade those son of a bitches off, or, you know, also they will do that to initiate flower in the middle of summer, you know, when you don't have the time. So I don't know if it was a question or if you just wanted to talk about it, but you know, that's you know, kind of how that whole thing works. If I explained it okay. I've been thinking about that the whole damn time.
Yeah, I just know that somebody mentioned something about PPFD in chat, and back to what Prophet was saying too about the lighting, too much lighting. But the other point I want to make about that was yeah, you're wasting electricity if you're giving your plants too much light. You're wasting money on electricity. So, and there is such a thing as a PPFD meter. First of all, like, what does PPFD stand for? And there's a meter that you can use to measure the amount of light that your plant or canopy is getting, right?
Yeah, PPFD meter measures photons that are hitting an area. So it just measures photons that are coming out of the light and the concentration of them. So PPFD meters are not by any means cheap.
Yeah,
They're very expensive.
I got enough change. They actually have an app on your phone you could download. I don't know how good it is.
That's more of a lux meter, and a lux meter.
Okay, yeah, you are. Yep, it's a lux.
Yeah, a lux meter is more for brightness.
Yep.
And that doesn't really mean shit. I mean, theoretically, they could have a light that doesn't actually produce light that has more PPFD than, you know, the brightest thing you've ever seen. Yeah.
That'd be like a halogen bulb or what are those, lithium lights or whatever the hell they are. You wouldn't be able to grow under it, but it'll blind you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
so, you know,
I saw, I think it was a par meter when I was out shopping for my cloning machine there. I damn near pulled the trigger on that, but I was like, well, especially with the cannons coming in soon, that would be just a lot of fun to see what you have in there. But maybe in a week or two.
Yeah. Although the LEDs, they don't recognize the pars. It's more the U-moles per joule. So you need a special meter.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was par was what you went by for the LEDs.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, see, then it's a good thing I didn't pull the trigger on that, and I need to ask more questions before I go and start buying all these fancy bells and whistles that are going to be expensive and I might not need.
Yeah, I don't think you need a lot of the major bells and whistles. You know, like your outcome of your grow will determine whether or not you got your shit right. Realistically, I mean that's just my opinion. It's I'm frugal, and if I don't need it, then I'm not gonna spend the money on it, you know, because a lot of it's gimmicks, dude. They get like you walk into a warehouse and, you know, it could be completely overwhelming, but you don't need everything that's in that damn warehouse.
No, not by any means, but I also like to know certain things, and I would be interested in seeing what the light is at certain areas. Are you getting good penetration down below? And that would be the bang on way. Well, you'll see from like visual inspections, right? If those buds down there, if they're getting big, yeah, okay, they're obviously getting light. But I'm just one of the I like gadgets and certain bells and whistles, and that's one that could. If you're trying different lighting positions inside the tent and stuff like that too, just try it over here. It's definitely not needed though. I just like to fuck around.
Could I talk about another technical thing that may or may not be able to help us? I've seen on other podcasts where the moderator or somebody has the ability, like for example, I'm curious about these meters, so I'm just checking out the prices on Amazon. Can one of us take what like what I'm looking at and put it on the screen? We've done it before. We've done it.
Yeah,
before.
well, do it. What you need to do is open up a screen on your computer and then hit the share on your Zoom.
And any of us can do that?
Yes, anybody can do that, as far as I know.
You guys don't want to see what's on my screen.
Yeah, you can do that. When you hit the button like you were going to mute yourself, down at the bottom in the middle is a green button that says share content. And you can tap on that and then bring up that other screen.
Yep. It's big and green. It's the only thing green. And if you scroll down there where your mute is, like you said.
Yeah, you got to undo it though, Caribou, because it says host disabled. So you have.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah, I think you have to like give access to.
Yeah, he does. He's being greedy. He's being greedy.
How about now? Did anything change? Because I just hit multiple participants can share simultaneously.
I can share. Yep.
I can too.
Okay.
There's your answer, Uncle Rick.
Yeah, well, of course, obviously I wasn't paying attention, was I? Okay, I'm sorry, buddy. Well, listen, I'm not going to ask you to say it again. I'll watch it tomorrow.
No,
Rick, it's a green button.
It's a green button.
It's the only green thing on the bar.
Oh, at the bottom here, share screen.
Yeah. Bang! Look at that. It's got a clever name and everything.
Okay, and I click on it and
share.
Well, you got to open up a tab on your computer first, right? So you have something to share.
You're gonna have to minimize us. You're gonna have to minimize this. Go to Google, or open a new tab. Go to Google, and then you can come to here and share the screen. I imagine.
Oh, God. I'm getting a fucking headache, man.
And then you gotta figure out the exact measurements for the flux capacitor in which to make time travel possible, and then you'll get it.
Just call Doc.
Yeah. Just ask Johnny. He's just going to tell you to throw the phone.
You're not getting it. Okay, listen, I promise I'm not going to hog any more airtime, but I got to tell you, yeah, in the mail, like, oh, hey.
Indica did it, not you.
Thank you, Indica.
Anyway, got my medical license, got to apply for this every year, and got that. But along with it came all the information about the license. And I just want to read you a small portion here that I seem to have a lot of problem with. Oh, is that meters we were looking at? It's all going too fast for me. Where am I? Oh, there.
Yeah, it kind of screwed me up too. I wasn't expecting that. All of a sudden, the screen's like rearranged and we're looking at stuff. And I'm like, am I on more drugs than I think I am? And no, I wasn't.
Yeah, well, yeah. Are you a little more screwed up than me? I don't know.
Possibly.
But anyway, I thought it was good information. This is in Canada, but it can also apply to the US. And here we go. This is titled The Safe Disposable of Cannabis. And I know we all have this problem, too much cannabis. So there's a method that you use, the government has outlined to dispose of it. Here we go. If you produce more cannabis than you intend to use, you may destroy the excess amount.
On camera. That's how it is over here on dispensaries and shit. You have to destroy it on camera, man. Burning pounds and pounds and pounds.
Oh, here it says you're not allowed to burn it.
What the hell are you supposed to do with it? Stick it up your rectum, like garbage
He's
disposal.
He's teaching you, prophet. Keep listening. This is
I'm
the
sorry.
most
I'm sorry.
stupid
I'm
thing
sorry.
you're
I'm
ever gonna
stoned.
hear.
My bad. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute.
To protect other persons, especially children or youth or pets in your household, you should render cannabis unfit for use or consumption prior to disposing of it. One method of disposing of cannabis is to blend the marijuana with water and mix it with cat litter to mask the odor and then place it in your regular household garbage. It is not advisable to burn your dried marijuana or plants. Okay, so Health Canada.
Yeah, that's great.
I'll still smoke that.
Hey, we better start hearing than you burning shit, Rick, and putting it. Putting it in the blender, Rick. We better be seeing that.
Rick, just turn it all into edibles that you're over.
You know, the whole
Boom.
time I just expected him to say, okay, it says right here, if you want to dispose of it, send it to Cariboo Hart Organics.
Yeah, we'll find a way to get rid of it for you.
Yeah, we'll look after it for you.
I just want to know or meet one person who's actually grown more than they're going to use. Seriously, meet me that person. I want to meet that person.
I'd like to meet them.
I do too, but then even if you do, man, I want to meet the person who's putting fucking cat litter and water in a blender, dude, and then tossing it in the trash. Like, so what are you even growing? You know what I
want to slap that person.
Oh yeah, dude. Like shit.
I want to meet the moron who made up that system.
That's the government, sir.
I want to learn from that person. Like, you're growing so much that you have to throw it away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, hypothetical is bringing the real there.
Yeah, that's a good call, hypothetical.
Hey, hypothetical, I chopped that can of Code Day 75.
How's she smelling?
Are you happy, Betty?
Dude, before I chopped her, I went down. You know how I told you about a week and a half ago, I was smelling that real earthy tones and I was in love with it? Well, I went down there this morning and I opened up the tent and all I could smell was a real deep earthy smell with like a fruity berry coming off it somehow. It smells phenomenal, sticky, gooey. And then my brother was here helping me do it. And he's like, did you even look at them trichomes through your trichome thing? And I'm like, no, I don't need to, Donnie. I can tell. He's like, well, I'm going to look at it. He looked at it and it's about 65%. And I'm like, yep, she's getting cut today. So she looks good.
It. That sounds like Canico.
I can't wait. I'm drying that up to take on vacation in 3 weeks. That's all I'm taking with me is that stuff. Well, I ain't gonna say it only that. I just made 6 ounces of bud. I actually used bud and 6 ounces or 6 sticks of butter for my vacation butter. So it looks strong as fuck. It's almost black.
Ooh.
Is that what you were showing us?
Yeah.
At first I thought that was coconut oil, but that was butter, huh?
That was butter. Yeah, that's what I thought when I seen how dark it was. Because usually the coconut gets real dark, and the butter it don't get as dark. But man, that's dark. The butter.
Well, your ratios are crazy, man.
Well, no, I bet. Hey, Johnny, are you separating after you do your butter? That's probably your issue. Are you separating? So if you do your butter, right, and then you put it in the fridge real quick, right after, just the butter, when you melt it down, it's gonna separate. There's gonna be different lipid fats in there, and there's good ones and there's bad ones.
He's correct. I scraped that. It's called clear.
I got it right here in this is my all-time travel fan. Like I put a lot of stuff in here, and right here, yeah, can of butter. So carefully store butter in fridge for 2 to 3 hours, so the butter and the butter solids separate. And you want the clear butter on top. That's what you want. The solid butters on the bottom is not what you want, and you'll get twice as better butter, and you'll get a lot of beautiful color with it too as well.
Indica. That's That's known as clarifying.
Yes, that's the word. Yeah.
That's what I do. I clarify my butter. It comes out gold.
Yes, correct. You're right. Yeah, and you can use like how you just said, Johnny. All of that, it would have looked just like gold, man. And that's how you get in sport. And I know just from making it too. I'm sure you do too as well, Prophet. But I think it's way better as well, man. It's a lot more potent and stronger, dude.
I found it easier to clarify right when I throw the butter in the crock pot and it's melting. All that white shit on the top, I just take and skim it right off, man, right before I throw my butt in there. And then I throw the butt in there, and when it's dry and hard and I separate it, the shit's gold.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out some way of doing that, because right now I got away from that crock pot. I got spoiled with that butter maker, so I just dropped the sticks right inside that butter maker. But I'll have to try
that. And not to interrupt you, brother, but you could do that, and then I'd pour it in like a glass, like mixing cup, man. Stick it in the fridge real quick for like 2 hours, say 2.5 hours. All right, put it back in your butter maker, heat it up, and then go about what your next steps are of using that.
Good idea.
So I bought one of those, like it's not the magic butter machine, but I got like the Levo 2. It kind of does the same thing, but I'm having trouble just getting like a nice potent oil out of it. Just because of the way, you got to like use a pod, that goes in there, and then you fill that pod. Well, in order to get all of the cannabis, you got to put like 2 cups of oil in. But if you can only fit, 8 to 7 grams of, product in with a 2-cup reservoir, it's like, that's not going to be very potent at all. Not trying to eat all 2 fucking cups of oil at one time. But, there's some small hacks that I've been trying to work with it to try to just get it more potent. But I mean, I like some of this information because, man, I'm having trouble just getting the oil that's, to where I'm not having to eat like 10 of my own gummies and they don't taste like complete shit because I overcooked the oil or some shit like that.
Crock pot and a rice cooker is my weapons, dude. I don't have one of those infusers, but I find I can put way more material, like you're saying, into a crock pot, and same thing with a rice cooker. It boils everything down that I need it to, and I find those 2 things to be my weapons in an infusion.
Yeah, same here, man. I'm old school. I do either the crock pot or I'll do like the last batch I did that I put on Cannabis. I did the old school double broil, 2 pans, 1 small, 1 bigger, man.
Yeah, double boil's great, man.
I've had the best luck ever doing it that way, man.
And it's way cheaper.
Yeah. Believe me, I've been wanting to buy one of those butter machines, but it's just like, they're great and all, but it's like, spend the $200 whatever dollars they are for the whole entire thing. You know what I mean? If I'm going to buy it, I usually buy it all. You know what I mean? The whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah. So
I'll buy the fucking trays and this and just shit that doesn't need to be bought. So yeah, it's just like, fuck it, man. I just stick to the old way, and I've had great success. Yeah. I even taught my mother that, man. That's how my mom makes it too. So
I passed up the magic butter machine as a gift for like 3 years now because I'm like, I don't need it.
I just do it because I can run that system down inside by my grow where I am scrubbing the air. That's why I use that. So I got to, like, all my decarb and all my infusion, it has to happen in an area where I can control the smell.
That's understandable. See, I don't have that problem.
That's why I have to do it that way. So,
my oven, I decarb in. So.
Yeah. I'm glad that, I'm just glad that the missus is an herbalist, because we got the magic butter machine and put, what was it, like 2 ounces into 3 sticks, and we're using like whole sticks at a time, and nothing over like a light body buzz for either one of us. And I mean, I've said it before, like, edibles don't seem to really phase us. So I'm just real glad that she's an herbalist. She's going to get other use other than cannabis out of it. Because I mean, not to say we won't do cannabis infusions, but it's not going to be our primary use of the magic butter.
See, I only have THC, and so does Johnny, because I mean, I bet you we could fuck you right up. But if not me, Johnny's gummies would destroy you, dude, because they're like 3 times more potent than mine. So, if you were rocking the THC, then I'd be like, here, let me send you some of these, try these, like you made by the older process. And I think that's the thing with the butter machines. I think they work kind of too quick. 2-hour infusion doesn't seem like a long enough infusion for me personally. But like I said, you don't do THC, so I mean,
Well,
if you really,
Oh, I do.
oh, do you?
When I was using the crock pot.
Yeah, we talk a lot about CBD, but
Johnny, we're gonna have to hurt him.
When I was using the crock pot, I they weren't as strong. I don't think. Now that been using the butter maker the last few times, everybody says they're just a tad bit stronger. They think. I don't know if I agree with it.
Yeah, but the amount of bud that you're putting into your material, Johnny, I mean, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, too, man. I got like in one of my crock pot recipes, I got, the longer you leave it on for that 12 to 24 hour, the more of those psychoactive compounds, man, will be extracted into the butter. So that's why I agree with you, Prophet. Like the butter, they're too quick, man. I don't know. I've never tried one. I've never, you know what I mean, or anything like that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's been like that. And actually, believe it or not, when I took my school classes, they had things on that about it too. You know what I mean? And I was like, no shit. So I don't know, man. I'm
okay.
away with
so,
it.
Sorry to interrupt, but my thing is I've been sitting and I've showed it on the show a couple times when I was on the road. I had this pickle jar full of CBD trim and stuff. I have another one full of THC trim, and I want to turn those into butter. So just opinions. Should I do a crock pot, a double boiler? Because I'm going to be doing this in a hotel room. Is straight up.
Crock pot will limit if you go with the coconut oil and a crock pot, it doesn't give off a cannabis smell like butter does.
Low and slow, man. Low and slow with it, and you won't
just
get it.
Decarb it first.
Okay.
But the lid will keep the smell in pretty well. Don't just keep popping the thing fucking open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, if you do the crock pot, the way I used to do it is I'd do mine for 18 hours. And about every hour, I'd take that jar out and I'd shake it real good, trying to agitate it a little bit for, 30 seconds, a minute or so. And then I'd put it back in there and I wouldn't open it till the very end. And to tell you the truth, I like that way. But for me, 18 hours to make a batch is just that's it. That's my special batches when I make them in the crock pot.
Johnny's got a point, because him talking about putting it in the jar and then in there and not opening the jar, that would limit your smell right there.
So what do you do?
Because I just put my material in the crock pot. I don't put it in a jar and I just let it do its thing.
I put mine in the jars and then
Yeah.
put the jars in the crock pot.
So what are you doing? Are you throwing butter and material in the jar and then putting that in a crock pot full of water?
Yep. And you put everything, all your ingredients inside I decarb it when I'm doing it in the crock pot. I decarb it in a mason jar.
Okay.
In there with a little bit of water and the lid on. I let that sit overnight in a fridge or a cooler. I let that sit for 12 hours to let them terps pop in and try to infuse in there a little bit more. And then I'll take it and I'll don't add no more water. I add in my ingredients. I just put enough water in there just to suck up, keep it juicy so it don't burn when it's decarboned. And then after that, I put it in that jar for 18 hours. And like I said, about every hour, I'll take it out and agitate it. And it turns out good that way. But it's so time consuming for my patients. So I go the other way. But when I do the crock pot, that'll be like for when 70 DP come down and Asian Blaze. I make them special ones when they come down.
So does anybody not understand? So when you decarb, right? 160 or so for a half hour or something like that. And then you go to do your infusion, like Prophet was telling me, he'll infuse it almost like 300 degrees, something like that.
Well, on my heat plate, I go 300. I can't get it to 300 on a crock pot.
Right. But why, why are we decarbing if when you're trying to infuse, you're already above the temperature you're decarbing at, and you're going to be there for a good long time? Like, I don't understand what decarbing before the infusion is if you're infusing at hot heat for a long time. I mean, I would love for somebody to explain this one because this confuses the shit out of me.
Good one.
Decarbing it not in the material, so you break all the material up, you put it in the oven, you decarb it. This way here, you know for a fact you've decarbed everything accessible. When you put it inside of a medium, sometimes you don't reach the temperatures long enough on particular parts of the material. So the reason I decarb is so that I know for a fact all the acid from THCA is burned away and it's THC. Then I put it into my material, just peace of mind. All right, just basically peace of mind. That's basically why I do it. But a lot of the time is also, I don't think the medium is ever fully one temperature for a long enough time in that area. You know what I'm saying? So like, it won't. I don't think it'll decarb. I've done it before, and then they say, when you bake it. So if you bake cookies or you're baking brownies, that's fucking 350 temperature wise for 20 minutes. It could decarb in there because, if you think of the original hippies before they learned to infuse it into butter, they were just taking butter and throw it in the brownie mix and then freaking just baking it. You know what I'm saying? And it was working.
Right.
So you don't technically have to, but you psychoactive the material, whether it's the oil or anything like that, so that you have the ability to use the oil in things like honey without having to heat up the honey and whatnot. So if your stuff's already decarbed, put into the material, you don't have to worry about activating it later on because it's already activated thoroughly. But that's just how I kind of figure it out. If I can spread it out on a pan, put it in the oven, I know it's all been decarbed. It's all been hit. If that helps you in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like I said, I've done it.
Baking.
What's that?
A quick question that applies to baking, but the vape guys might know it too. At what temperature does THC volatilize off?
You mean burn away? Like gone, like where it doesn't work anymore?
Right, because I mean, like we know that it'll volatilize off. Like when we vape it, we want to hit a certain temperature so that we get the THC off of it.
Yeah.
I would assume that when baking or decarbing, you'd want to stay below that point. What temperature?
I think it would be 600. I think it would be in the 600s, or even.
It's actually quite low. It's in like the 300s.
It's in the 300s.
It's somewhere in the mid to high 300s, like 360, 370.
To activate it or to destroy it?
No. To volatilize it. So like when you vape, when you use like your vaporizers, those set temperatures, it might even actually be considerably lower now that I think about it. I know CBD and all the CBs are a lot higher. They volatilize off a lot higher. So you have to vape at higher temperatures to get your CBs. But THC is actually quite low. It's
I think it's
it may even be in like the 280.
Jeez, I vape at 420.
Yeah, well, so do I. I vape at like max temperature on all my vapes. So I just
so I mean,
I want everything at one time.
So realistically, we can go higher than what they're saying. We push it
higher.
Go
up higher because when you're vaping it, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to volatilize it off and get it. So,
right.
That doesn't matter. I don't know if I think you have to like hold it at a super high temperature or at a higher temperature to destroy it to the point where it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It has to be held at that temperature longer.
Okay.
But
I know.
All right, guys, I gotta go. See y'all later. Have a good day, boys.
Have a good day.
Bye, Drizzy. Have a great day.
Have a great day, Drizzy.
Have a good one.
I'll let you finish this bit, Fluffy, but after you're done, we gotta wrap it up here.
I can wrap. I can do a quick one.
I'll take your time and finish your bit, but after you, we'll shut her down.
Yeah, it's fine. I think I actually saw it was either on a Fuck Combustion forum or something like that. Somebody has actually put up a chart of when terpenes volatilize, when cannabinoids volatilize, and everything else. So you can adjust your vaporizer temperatures to the desired effects you want and the flavors and tastes and everything that you want at one time. So you can, I know you'll be able to find it through Fuck Combustion, but I don't know exactly who posted it. I would have to do a bunch of research and go back through it. I can do that if you want me to shoot you a link, but if not, Fuck Combustion is actually just kind of fun to tool through. So, you know, if you want to learn a lot about vaporizers and what people are doing with random shit, and they got all kinds of neat stuff there.
I just got my vaporizer. Like, I'm just learning about it, so.
I love mine. I mean, I can answer a lot of questions. And
yeah, I mean, I don't dab, so.
I'll be hitting you off after the show, asking me questions about it.
I still want to do a good portion of a show with you, Fluffy, about vaporizers, because I'm looking for one in the near future. And you seem to be pretty up on all the latest gadgets and gizmos with vaporizers, because I'm looking for more of a handheld flower-wise, what I have in mind. So we could do a really good one on that Tuesday, Friday. So, you know, whenever we can get around to it and see how that works out.
Yeah, I'd love to do it, because I'd like to do things for somebody else in the helping factor that, you know, I've made some bad purchases. There's some ones I don't like. There's reasons I don't like them, but some of them I love, but I hate using it. Like, it's a great experience, but fucking use of it just sucks. So, you know, I'd like to, you know, show those things to people, because, you know, there's a lot of the popular ones. So I would like to help that. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to do a show like that, to just try to help anybody else with growing pain, save them some money, and get them the best experience.
All right. That sounds like a great plan. All right. And with that, I think we'll shut it down for the night. Thank you all for joining us, everyone on the panel. It's always so great to hang out and smoke with you guys. Indica B, man, we don't get to see you enough, brother. So it was so great to, when you first popped off and left the first time, I was like, oh no, we lost him before we even got to say hi.
Damn laptop froze, man. It was just, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to be here, guys. I really appreciate it. I will be here for the next show. Absolutely, man. I missed you guys. So thank you.
Cool.
All right. And as always, everyone in chat, we love you. Thank you so much for your support. You guys are awesome. And everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. And we will see you Tuesday for the Tuesday night talk. Have a great night.
Cool.